Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nathan Nunnally Show. I'm your host, Nathan Nunnally, and today we're going to be talking about why gun control is a bad idea. I know this is a very late episode, but spring break got busy, and then last week, to be honest, I kind of forgot about it. Which it happens. So anyway, this week's going to be good. I was going to go ahead and post an episode on Wednesday to help make up for last week, and then I'll have another one Saturday. And whether or not I come up with another something this week before Saturday, we might have another one out there too. But anyway, for today's episode, though, I left the music playing. Whoopsies. Anyway, okay, so gun control. I decided to talk about gun control today just because that I know in after the New Zealand shooting, they passed gun control laws, so basically a gun ban in there. And if you remember last episode, I talked about the manifesto of that guy, and a lot of his reasoning was to kind of stir up that issue again, which didn't really last that long. It kind of happened for maybe a week or two, and then after that it kind of died back down again. Because, other things happen, like, every single day. But yeah, so, anyway, I was just going to talk about, my opinion on gun control. Obviously think it's a bad idea, from the title, but, also, the way I look at it is, you know how, like, the three branches of government have, like, a set of checks and balances, The executive branch can do things that checks on the legislative branch, like a veto, but then, the legislative branch can override a veto, to keep them in line, and everything, checks and balances to make everything even. So the way I see, the Second Amendment as the right to carry, it's kind of like a check and balance between us and the government, to kind of be like, if the government gets out of hand to where we don't like it, we have the materials and weapons to overthrow the government if that need be. Not saying that, it's going to be like that a lot, or it's going to happen multiple times, but, you never know, just in case. It's always good, being prepared, you always want to have it, and not be able to use it, or not need to use it, then need to use it and not be able to have it. Yeah, so that's the first reason. It's like a check and balance, between the citizens and the government. Second reason, when you ban, okay, like a big argument is like, if you ban guns, how are people going to shoot each other? Okay, well, killing people is already against the law. So if you're going to make a law banning guns, then that only bans guns from the law-abiding citizens who are most likely not going to shoot someone unless they're intruding in their house, right? And so if you take away the guns from the law-abiding citizens, you leave all those people defenseless when the criminals who don't care about breaking the law, if killing people is already against the law, then what makes you think a gun, like someone that's like getting a gun, it's gonna be like, dang it, they passed that gun law, now I can't use this gun on it. I guess I'll use a knife or a plastic fork, Maybe they'll ban knives one day, I don't know. But you see how that makes sense. It doesn't. I mean, you see how that doesn't make any sense. So there'd be no point in banning, guns, because you're only protecting, you're leaving the good people defenseless, which is not good. And so that's kind of a second reason. This might be a really short episode. Wow. But third reason, I think that we should encourage, well, this really isn't a reason, but I think we should encourage people to carry. That way, if they're put in a situation where there is a shooter, that they have the ability to pull out a gun of their, choice, whatever, and fire to end the situation. Because, I saw this on Instagram. It's a good analogy, it's like, man, what did it say? It was comparing guns and police officers. It was saying like, oh, it's like, why do we need guns if we need police officers, or if we have police officers? And then it was like, well, then why do we need fire extinguishers if we have firefighters? Like, a gun kind of, like, you can respond to the situation before a police officer gets there. So, well, let's say a police station is like 15 minutes away, right? You call them. By that point, who knows how many people have been shot and either dead or are dying or bleeding to death. You know, if you have the materials on you to end the situation quicker than it started, well, not quicker than it started, but end the situation quicker than it would be when a police officer were to get there, you know, that helps, you know. And the media never covers, you know, stories that talk about, you know, good guys with guns shooting criminals and ending situations, you know, quicker than, you know, before the police got there, you know. But I don't know. Real quick, I love this story. This happened in Alabama, I think. So roll Tide. But there's he was, I want to say 11 or 12. He wasn't very old. I don't think he was in middle school yet. And his parents, you know, showed him, you know, gun safety and everything. And I think they probably, he seems like a kid that hunts. It was probably he probably had it on a rack in his room. Anyway, he had a gun, and an intruder broke into his house. And so the kid got the gun and was like, hey, like, if you don't leave, I'm gonna shoot, you know. And the guy was basically like, you know, I don't care, little kid, whatever. So the kid shot him in the leg, and then in the interview, the kid's explaining the story, and he goes, yeah, I shot him in the leg, and he fell down, and he said he started crying like a little baby. And I just thought that was so funny, you know, like a big, you know, intruder thinks he's about to break into the house and gets shot by like a 11-year-old, you know. Like I'm sure that guy like got beat up in prison. Like he was, you know. But anyway, yeah. So, you know, if you have the materials on you to end a situation quicker, I think that would be better. And also, I think we should put more emphasis on the fact that if someone's shooting people and you shoot that person and take them out, that you're not going to be prosecuted, you know, because you did the right thing in a way by helping in the situation, you know. And you don't have to shoot them like in the chest. You can go for the leg or whatever. It honestly just depends on how severe the situation is. But yeah, I think we should encourage people to carry more, so we have more people armed and ready to stop things like that. That's probably the biggest issues. And you know, I could sit here with statistics and all that stuff, but that would take way too long because Google is starting to censor stuff. Yeah, that's cool. I may have said this last time, but I literally spent so long trying to find one video. I knew what news source had the video. I think it was Fox. Yeah, I think it was Fox, and I was looking up everything. I was like, okay, you know, this video, Fox News, you know, I had to look up everything exactly, and then it finally showed up. But it would not pull up any other way. That was so frustrating. Anyway, but yeah, so I really think gun control is not a good idea. And if you have any arguments to that, then you know you can feel free to message me. I like debating and talking about things. The left doesn't really like doing that because, you know, if you shut down all ideas that are against yours, then people can't really argue their way for anything to make sense. So therefore, you're kind of making your way, you know, right, even though it may not be right, you know, because no one can argue against it or they'll get censored, kind of like what's happening right now. But yeah, so I think that's about all today. But yeah, just that's my opinion and why I think it's a good idea. I think this Saturday I'm going to be talking about Senator Cory Booker if you follow me on Instagram, you saw the post I made. Well, it'd be today because today's Wednesday. The post I made. Cory Booker is he wrote a bill which includes slavery reparations, which is interesting. Especially the fact that he's losing. I'll talk about this more in depth, but I think he's partially why he's doing this is to buy the African American vote because he's losing. So, if you make yourself look like you're going to help a certain, certain ethnic group, if you will, they're going to vote for you. So that's what I think. Anyway, I'll talk about that more. I'll probably talk about all the Democratic candidates because there's like almost 20 of them. I better go ahead and talk about it before they get more. It's like every week a new Democrat's like, you know what, I'm running for president. Yeah, I guess that wraps up today's episode. This is a very short episode, I guess because I didn't have as much information built in. I just kind of talked from the top of my head. But yeah, like I said, if you have any opinions that oppose mine and would like to debate it out or whatever, I'm a pretty chill person when it comes to arguing. I try to be anyway. On Instagram, I do a lot of trolling, which is really fun. But I don't get very heated. Is what I'm trying to say. I do it in a very calm, and I try to listen to the other side, I'm not like most people that like get all red faced and like raging mad with like steam blowing out my ears and everything. I would like more people to come and debate me. Just to talk about things because it's important. It's important that we keep discussion going on both sides and you got to remember this. I don't think either side wants bad for the country, and I think it's important that you remember that when you're debating someone. Someone that wants gun control, they're not promoting gun control because, they want to disarm America so, the government can take over whenever they want to. They probably don't think about that. They just think about the more positives like, oh, well, without guns we can't have shootings, and, which I disagree with. I think you'd have, it'd be worse. But yeah, it is important to remember that nobody wants bad or wrong for the country. Everyone's just way to get there is different, and some ways work better than other ways, and, it just depends on what side you're on. So, for the third time, that wraps up this episode of the Nathan Nunnally Show. My Instagram is Nate Nunnally. You should know how to spell Nate. And then NUNNALLY_1776. If you do go on there, you should like the pictures of my new truck. I got a new truck last week. It's pretty nice. A red Colorado. Anyway, that's sidetrack. Anyway, but yeah, so thanks everyone for listening, and make sure to tune in next week if I post, and remember to, unlike the past 2 weeks. But yeah, tune in next week on the Nathan Nunnally Show.